Father Michael ORSI. I'm your host for Action for Life Television, that good news program which brings you the big G, the gospel of Jesus Christ, and the little g, all the good things that people do to put the gospel of life into action. We have an unusual program for you today because we're going to be interviewing a dog. Well, not really. We're going to be interviewing the dog's owner. His name is Deacon Hugh Muller, and Deacon Hugh is a deacon at St. Agnes Church in Naples, Florida. He's also a disabled veteran, and he'll tell you about his disabilities and the kind of help that he needs at the moment. Now, there is a wonderful organization called Golden PAWS, and they supply service animals for people like Deacon Hugh who needs help. And these animals are highly trained animals. The training is for a long period of time. Deacon Hugh will tell us about that, the costs of the training, and where does the money come from for training these animals for service, especially to our veterans. Now, Cooper, not only is he beautiful, but he's very smart. At the moment, he is a service dog, but there are plans for him to become a therapy dog, and we're going to talk about that too. So Deacon Hugh, I want to welcome you to the program. Thank you for being here today, and I want to thank you, boy. I hope that you'll be able to say a few words at the end of the show, okay? And if he does, folks, it's the last show. Okay, Deacon Hugh, tell us about, you're a vet,
yes.
And can you tell us your story? What's happened to you that you needed a service dog?
Okay, I'm a disabled vet. I'm a retired Air Force. I was exposed to Agent Orange in Vietnam in '68 and '69. And because of that exposure, I've developed Parkinson's. So I have balance issues. And because of the Parkinson's, I have tremors and I have depression issues. And I have challenges getting around sometimes.
Okay, I want to ask you something.
Sure.
I didn't know that Agent Orange was a cause of Parkinson's.
Yes, the VA has accepted that for years now.
I've never known that. And do many of the vets from Vietnam, that terrible Agent Orange, it was just an awful thing. Many of the vets suffering from Parkinson's?
I'm not sure how many, but there are enough. I'm sure there are many.
And many are disabled
Yes.
because of post-traumatic stress. You talked
Yes.
about that you suffer from depression.
Mm-hmm.
I can't blame you or anybody else from suffering from depression after that horrible war in Vietnam. And to this day, people are still carrying the wounds, and you're one of them.
And the modern vets, a lot of them are disabled, and they need the dog to assist them if they're wheelchair bound or if they're an amputee. They train the dogs to do many different things.
So these are even the vets from not just Vietnam, but Desert Storm, and many of the wars that unfortunately were still somewhat involved in the Middle East. And you've heard of post-traumatic stress disorder. At one time, I think it was called being shell-shocked, but we know a lot more about it now. So these folks that have experienced this post-traumatic stress or physical disabilities, or like Deacon Hugh, who has the after effects of Agent Orange, they need help as they progress in life. And the help, sometimes we think it's just, well, they need financial help. They need psychiatric help. They need medical help. And all of those things are true. But sometimes they need the help of a four-legged friend.
Yep.
So you've become more and more disabled, and then there came a point when you said, I got to get myself a service dog.
Yep.
And how did that happen? How do you do this?
Well, like many other things, you have to apply. I applied for a service dog several months ago, and they went over my medical records, they went over my history, and they thought I was qualified. And before I forget, Golden PAWS also provides dogs for disabled children that have specific disabilities that dogs can help with.
Isn't that fantastic? I didn't know that about Golden PAWS also helps with with children who have disabilities. This is a wonderful thing for you to know, in case you know a child that does need some kind of help. And I guess they would tell you what the dogs can do?
Yes, and the dogs can do many things that they train them to do, opening doors, getting things out of refrigerators, helping vets or children just have a companion and a need to spend a little more time and effort walking, and it's partially, he gets me out of the house.
Really?
Because he needs to go out every once in a while, so I take him, and I'm the one that binds with him. I feed him, I take him out, I do all the caring, and that's part of what I'm learning to do. And some of the things, like I have problems with my manual dexterity, getting his collar and his leash on and off. Sometimes I have to work at that. And my physical therapist wants me to do 5 or 10 times, taking the leash on and off, taking the collar on and off, just to get my manual dexterity back.
Okay, so you decided to take, I need some help now. Yeah. And how did you know about Golden PAWS?
Well, that was an interesting story. My previous dog was a golden retriever, and a friend of mine...
But not a service dog?
Not a service dog. He died about 4 years ago. And so my daughter knew that I loved dogs and thought that I might qualify for a service dog, so she told me, why don't we apply and we'll see what happens. I applied, and then I found out from a friend, actually Al from the Knights, bumped into someone who had a dog from Golden PAWS, and so Al suggested I try Golden PAWS myself.
So one of the Brother Knights of Columbus said to you, hey, I could help you get a service dog.
Yes.
Okay? Mm-hmm. See what we could do for other people. Sometimes, we know something, and we could pass it right on to somebody else, and that information then becomes very valuable to them. So if you know somebody that maybe is in need of a service dog, especially a vet, maybe the child, pass the word along. It goes a long, long way to helping another human being. Okay, so...
Then I had to be interviewed by the dogs.
And did he ask you any tough questions?
Well, it was first I was interviewed by Golden PAWS, the staff, and the powers that be in there. But then they literally introduced me to 3 different dogs, and they wanted to see how the dogs reacted to me and how I reacted to the dog. And Cooper chose me, and I chose Cooper.
So he just came right over to you and said, Daddy?
Yep, just about. It was love at first sight.
And how old was he when you first met?
I met him, he's 2.5, a little over 2.5 now. And he's been in training since he was born. They literally select the puppies when they're...
Really?
Certainly after they're born.
So he's 2.5 years old?
Yes, and he's had 2.5 years of training at Golden PAWS.
Wow, and did you go visit him during this time period?
When I first was accepted, I went and visited him several times a week, and then they had me feed him twice a day for a couple of weeks. And then he came to our house overnight, and then he came to our house for 30 days, and they visited me 2 or 3 times a week to see how we were doing.
I had no idea that this was going on.
And help train me, because he knows what he can and can't do, but I had to know how to request for him to do that.
Getting to know you.
Absolutely.
Getting to know all about you. A new career.
So he came to visit on the 24th of November, and the 30 days was up on the 24th of December, so he's kind of my Christmas present. And then there's a 6-month period where he still is their dog, and I'm the both of us, I guess, are on probation. But they already told me that he's doing so well and I'm doing so well that we're golden. So now I'm waiting for them to, next time they have a class for the therapy dogs, for Cooper and I to go back to Golden PAWS and get involved in therapy.
Before we get to the therapy dog stage, though, I want to ask you, what does he do for you?
Well,
so you wanted him for help, but what does he help you with?
Well, I have fallen going into church, for example.
You didn't sue anybody, did you?
I didn't sue anybody.
Right.
And actually, one time I fell, I knocked my wife down, And the two of us are like beach whales down on the sidewalk.
Nell, you didn't hear that, Nell. He was the beach whale, not you.
And trying to get up because it's not easy to get. Well, he's been trained to brace, and I can use him to get up and get down. And that's one reason why he's a big golden. He's sturdy, so that he can literally help me. The first time I fell after we got him, he was at my side in an instant and just was waiting for the command, brace, and then I was able to get up. Usually I have to crawl to a chair. My wife can't help me because I weigh more than I should. But
Well, how much does he weigh?
he weighs 80 pounds.
80 pounds, and he's all fur and muscle.
He's a good boy.
He is. Okay, so then he helps you to get up. He braces. What else does he do?
Well, he helps me to pay attention when I'm walking because he's looking for things that I may trip on, and he doesn't say, "Hey, you're going to trip." He just slows down a little bit, and I pay more attention when I'm with him than I would if I was just walking by myself or walking with my wife, because I have the responsibility to keep him from getting hurt by running away or another dog or something like that. So he forces me to pay more attention to where I'm walking and what I'm doing when I'm outside of the house.
Okay.
And then when I'm in the house, he's just a lover. He stays by my side. He's my shadow. He follows me everywhere, watches me when I'm, and then when it's time to go to bed, he goes into his crate. They're all crate trained, and he goes in the crate at night, and in the morning we get up and we start all over again.
Okay. Do you drive?
Yes.
Okay, now, when you drive, what does he do?
He's trained to get in the back seat. It's load up is the command, and he gets in, and I put his seatbelt harness on.
He has a seatbelt, yeah.
He's got a harness, and he's got a seatbelt that clips into one of the regular seatbelt clips, and then it clips onto his harness. So he is harnessed in the back seat. He can move around a little bit, but and when I say get dressed, and he allows me to put his vest on. This is called a vest, what he's got on already, or to put on his collar, or to put on his harness. And then he stays in the back seat, and we go on our trip wherever we're going.
So he goes shopping with you.
Yes.
Goes shopping.
By law, service animals are allowed to go wherever, everywhere.
Now, I know he goes to church. He's a Catholic dog. So he comes to church on Sunday, and he's a big hit in church. Everybody loves him.
Well, service dogs are really not supposed to be loved by everybody.
Too late.
But because he should be, if my problem was like I had a heart murmur or epileptic fits or something, he should be paying attention to me,
Right.
to be ready to let me know, hey, you're going to have an episode. But since I don't have that situation, and since he is going to be a therapy, we're a little bit more lenient on people loving him. However, when he's in church, I need for him to stay down because the people that come up to see him at church, I don't want him getting to thinking that everybody's coming to visit him.
Right.
Because when Father comes by and gives me communion, I don't want him reaching out for a treat.
Right.
So I want him to be staying down there. So I need to make sure that the folks in the congregation recognize that when he's in the pew, he needs to be down and not
Right.
paying attention to them.
Okay, so even though you're a star, we have to keep you somewhat subdued in church.
Yes.
Now, where does the funding come to Golden PAWS to train an animal like this? A 2.5-year program, that's a lot of money.
They say it's around $10,000 a dog. When I got him, they had 22 golden retrievers. And they only deal with golden retrievers. They feel that is the breed that is best suited for what they're hoping to have the dog do. And the dogs they select them based on how they behave. And they're in a training and evaluation for the 2.5 years.
But like somebody says, we need some service dogs, we want golden retrievers. Do they say, we'll buy a litter? We'll buy a litter of dogs and see which ones have potential? And
No, they have contracted with people that are either donating their dogs already or that are willing to to sell them to Golden PAWS. And they evaluate the dog when they're puppies, and they look at their heritage, their parents, if you will, the birth parents, to make sure that they're in good shape and have the capabilities to be intelligent enough to respond to the training.
Well, what about if you suppose you get one that, not as brilliant as Cooper? Then what happens?
Then some of them get, the flunk outs, if you will, are passed on to families that have lesser need, but are willing to take the dog and not maybe have a child that is not as disabled, but is looking for a love.
You see, folks, there's a dog for everybody. You might not have a genius like Cooper, but maybe one of Cooper's siblings or his cousin or somebody like that just didn't cut the mustard, but doesn't mean that the animal's useless. And maybe there's a child that could use that animal. What about like a priest like me that needs a lot of help? Do I qualify?
Well, I would only say you need to put in an application and talk to the folks at Golden PAWS, and you may or you may not.
They may decide you need more help than a dog. Okay. Now, I think that we also have to bring on the camera today your lovely wife, Nell. Nell, come on over here and tell us a few things about the dog. As you can imagine, producing this wonderful program, Action for Life, it costs a great deal of money. We're going to need your help. So if you would like to donate to keep this good news program on the air, please go to your computer, your cell phone, actionforlife.net. And now for our thought for the day. Prayer is extremely important. We're not fighting a battle just against earthly powers. We're fighting a battle against evil. Please take some time each day to pray and ask God for the strength that you need and that we need to keep up the battle for life. There is another part of the story here because, you see, Deacon Hugh and Cooper do not live alone. We have, Deacon Hugh's wife and Cooper's stepmom. Now, you're part of the household, and you have the three of you living there. How do you get along? I mean, I know he's enough to get along with, but now you have the child here, Cooper. How does that work out? What's your role in making the house a happy house and keeping Cooper on track?
Yes.
As well as your husband.
Right. Yes. I was a little reluctant at first, but once we got into the process, I became overjoyed almost immediately because I could see how Cooper could certainly benefit our lives, especially with Hugh. I wanted to be 100% on board, but when Cooper first came, I had to recognize that Hugh does everything for Cooper.
And you thought he was a baby horse.
Yes, I said, he looks like a baby horse. But I have learned through Golden PAWS that I do need to know the commands. I need to be able to, sometimes I will walk Cooper and, take him out just in case something happens to Hugh, that he needs to be familiar with me somewhat.
So did you do a little training along with him?
Yes, I went, not in the beginning, it was just Hugh, but then when Hugh came to our house, I started participating in all the sessions. And so therefore, I feel that he is able to respond to me, but I don't take the initiative and do the commands and things for him. But we did have an interesting thing. Soon after he came to our house, Hugh fell in the house. And as he said, the dog was right there. Now, normally Hugh would either have to crawl to a chair or I would try to get him up. But unfortunately, I'm getting older and I just have not been able to help Hugh get up every time he gets up. So I was completely sold when I saw the dog, Cooper, perform in helping Hugh get up. I mean, I was like completely awed. But Cooper has added a real dimension to our lives.
That's what was interesting. It's like a new dynamic comes in.
Yes.
You know, I'm not, I hope I'm not, using hyperbole here, but it's having a third member of the family now,
Yes.
and maybe even like having another child, I suppose.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it is. It is. It is. It is very nice. It has certainly brought a lot of joy to us. And as Hugh said, having him do the responsibility, because at times I've noticed over the years that Hugh sometimes would just sit in his chair in our TV room where we read and watch TV and whatever. But and I just felt like that he was just sort of drifting.
I'd veg.
Off to another land. So I would try to get him, involved in things. But now I think Cooper has certainly put a spark into him, and I say that he has a real twinkle in his eye again.
I've noticed that too. I'm not being patronizing or trying to be funny here, but I've known you and Nell now for 3-4 years. How many years?
6 years.
Time flies. Anyway, I have noticed something different in you since Cooper arrived. When I see him coming into church, there is that sparkle in his eye. There's kind of a joy that you have rekindled in your life. And you know what? I'll tell you the truth. I have a joy in my life when I see the dog in church. I mean, I really do. I mean, he knows I love him, and he knows
yes,
that.
Absolutely.
And he knows that. You see, he's got a great ego. He knows he's special.
Yes.
He is special.
Yes.
And he's special for you and for Nell and for me and for, like I said, a lot of other folks that come to church. I think Golden PAWS is a fantastic organization. To use these animals as a service to human beings makes us realize how important animals are and the care that they deserve. Cooper's taking care of you, but
And they're right here in Naples.
yeah, right here. And Cooper, Cooper needs a lot of care and love and attention too, and he's getting it. He's getting it, and he's going to do something else. He's going to be in training pretty soon to be a therapy dog. So he's going to wear 2 hats. Tell us about the therapy dogs.
Well, the therapy dog, what I want him to do is I go to the hospital to visit the sick, and I visit shut-ins, and I visit assisted livings. It's been curtailed because of COVID quite a bit, but so there are opportunities. I've found that many, many people really respond to Cooper. And people that are sick in the hospital that are just depressed or tired or other reasons why they're there, it brings a little bit of joy to their life for them to be able to reach over and scratch a dog's ears. So I'm going to be able to bring him to wherever they are, and he can spend a couple of minutes with them, and they can just scratch his ears like Father is, and enjoy having a experience of having another aspect of life, the lovely animals that God provides for us.
Can I ask you, where does Golden PAWS get the money to train these animals?
Golden PAWS is a a nonprofit, and they are all donations.
All donations. Hey, folks, if you want to really do something nice for somebody and you love animals and you know it, if you want to get me one like Cooper too, please, please give a donation to Golden PAWS. Could people stop over at Golden PAWS and take a look at the animals?
Yes. Many of the people at Golden PAWS are volunteers. Most of them are volunteers.
Okay.
And the dogs need to be fed twice a day. They need to be walked 4 or 5 times a day. So it's they're open for volunteers and staff.
This dog hugs me. I mean, he's hugging me. This animal.
They have to be trained.
They have to be trained. The volunteers have to be trained. And they have different categories of training. Some of them are puppy trainers, and some people just hang out with the puppies. And that's certainly a fun job for someone to have. But they need to be trained so that they take good care of the puppies and they don't teach the puppies any bad habits or whatever.
Yeah. We don't want any naughty puppies. We want nice puppies like you. Okay, well folks.
Father, could I just add one other thing? Cooper has added a real dimension to our family life, our extended family. We have 2 children that are married, and then we have 3 grandchildren, and they're all like teenagers, but everybody's interested in Cooper, and especially during the pandemic, and it's been a lot of fun because Hugh sends pictures throughout the day, and of course all the kids have phones. So one of our granddaughters said, "Papa, I love you just sending pictures throughout the day of Cooper." She said, "It really makes me happy." So it's been a lot of fun for our family to be involved with Cooper.
Well, he has made a difference in a lot of people's lives already, and you've made a great difference in my life.
Yes.
Cooper, we're so happy to have had you on the show today, and I'm glad that you were able to share with us some of your very, very valuable time. Ladies and gentlemen, until next week, I'm for action, and I hope you are too. Thank you. God bless you.
God bless you too, both.
We would like to thank our generous sponsors for their wonderful support. Thanks for watching. Please join us next time for Action for Life. I'm for action, and I hope you are too. I'm Father Michael ORSI. I am your host for Action for Life Television, that good news program which talks about the gospel of Jesus Christ, the big G, and the little g, all the good things that people are doing to put the gospel of life into action. So please join us for the next episode of Action for Life.